It was a chilly winter morning. Donald Trump was traveling through New York City in his car on his way to a meeting. The air was cold, and the streets were bustling with people rushing to their destinations. Suddenly, something caught Trump's attention at a street corner. Sitting on the sidewalk was a man wrapped in a torn military jacket and a frayed blanket. Beside him was a cardboard sign with bold letters that read, "I am a veteran, please help." Trump immediately instructed his driver to stop the car and turned to his security detail. "I want to know who he is," he said. Stepping out of the vehicle, the icy wind hit his face. Trump walked toward the man, drawing curious glances from the passers-by. The man, noticing Trump approaching, flinched at first but remained seated. With a gentle voice, Trump asked, "Hello, what's your name?" The man looked up hesitantly and replied in a hoarse voice, "My name is John Miller." Trump knelt down to John's level, meeting his eyes with a calm and empathetic gaze. "Tell me your story, John," he said softly. John tucked his trembling hands into his worn-out blanket, taking a deep breath before speaking. In a tired, shaky voice, he began, "I'm a veteran. I joined the military when I was 22. I served in Afghanistan. We faced unimaginable challenges during our missions. I lost my friends, fought every day just to survive. But the worst part wasn't what happened there. It was coming back and realizing that nothing was the same anymore." Trump listened intently to every word, his expression reflecting the weight of John's story. John's voice began to falter. "I was badly injured during one of the missions," he continued. "A blast took my friends, and I can never forget that moment. When I returned home, I received medical treatment, but my soul wasn't healed." He paused, his eyes welling up with tears. Lowering his head, he added in a quieter voice, "My family abandoned me. They said I was a burden. I lost my job. Then, when I couldn't pay my debts, I lost my home. One day, I found myself on the streets, cold, hungry, and utterly alone." Tears streamed down John's face as he continued. "No one offered a helping hand," he said in a choked voice. "I was just forgotten. I once fought for this country, risked my life, and now it feels like no one even sees me. People walk past me like I'm a ghost." Trump's serious expression showed he was deeply moved, his empathy growing with each word. But John wasn't finished. Gripping his blanket tightly, he added, "Last winter, I was sleeping on the streets when the man next to me froze to death, right beside me. When I woke up, he was still wrapped in his blanket. I called the police, but it was too late. He was a Vietnam veteran. What scares me the most is thinking that one day, that could be me. Someone might find me like that, frozen and forgotten." John looked up at Trump, his tearful eyes filled with pain. "I gave everything for this country, but now my life is completely in the dark. Sometimes I ask myself, why did I survive?" Trump took a deep breath. The gravity of John's words etched across his face. His voice was steady but filled with emotion as he said, "John, a man like you should never be in this situation. You gave your life to serve this country, and yet this country has failed you. This has to change. I promise you, it will." John stared at Trump, disbelief and a glimmer of hope mixing in his expression. "Really? Would you do this for me?" he asked, his voice trembling. Without hesitation, Trump replied, "Yes, John. You fought for this country, and now this country needs to fight for you. This is just the beginning. This darkness will end, and together we'll make it right." For the first time in what felt like years, tears of hope streamed down John's face. This wasn't just a helping hand, it was a lifeline. Trump wasn't just offering assistance. He was giving John a light in the darkness, a chance to believe in a better tomorrow. Trump pulled out his phone and immediately called his assistant. "Book the nearest hotel and get a doctor on site," he instructed firmly. Then, turning to his bodyguard, he added, "Get a hot meal for John." Sitting back down next to John, Trump placed a hand on his shoulder and said reassuringly, "We're going to make you comfortable now." Within minutes, the bodyguard returned with a steaming bowl of soup and a sandwich. John hesitated at first, then took a bite. As he chewed, his eyes welled up with tears. "It's been so long since I've had something warm to eat," he said softly. Trump stayed with him, offering words of encouragement and making sure John finished his meal. An hour later, a sleek black SUV arrived. Trump gently helped John into the car and escorted him to the hotel. When they arrived, John was shown to a private room where a warm shower, clean clothes, and a soft bed awaited him. For the first time in what felt like forever, John felt a sense of dignity. Trump also arranged for a doctor to examine him and ensure he received proper care, organizing a plan to help John regain his health. The following morning, Trump met John at a beautifully set breakfast table in the hotel dining room. "John, I've put together a plan for you," Trump said with a smile. "There's an organization called Veterans United that helps homeless veterans rebuild their lives. I'm going to connect you with them, and I'll personally cover all your expenses for the first year." John's eyes widened in disbelief. "Really? You're doing this for me?" he asked, his voice trembling with emotion. Trump nodded warmly. "Yes, John. You served this country, and now it's time for this country to serve you. This is the least I can do." Later that day, John met with a representative from Veterans United, who explained all the resources and support available to him, including housing, job training, and counseling. To help him get started, Trump handed John a check from his foundation to cover immediate expenses. John, overwhelmed with gratitude, said with tears in his eyes, "This feels like a miracle. I never thought my life could change so quickly." As Trump prepared to leave, he turned to John and said, "One day, you'll have the chance to help someone else. This world becomes a better place when we extend our hands to one another." John, now tearful but determined, looked at Trump and replied, "I promise. One day, I'll pay it forward." Facing the camera, Trump addressed the viewers with heartfelt sincerity. "There are so many people in need of help in this country. Let's not ignore them. Even a small gesture can change a life. Sometimes, all it takes is one person to be a beacon of hope. Remember, we all have the power to make a difference." The story concluded with scenes of John starting his new life, moving into a safe home, preparing for work, and smiling with hope for the future. He now had a place to call home, a purpose, and a renewed sense of dignity. This was proof of how a single act of kindness could transform a life forever. If this story moved you, don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications for more inspiring stories. Together, let's spread hope and kindness.